Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name's Leanne Newton, and today I'm going to be talking about Brett and Eiko's story. You can go and check out my threads on X. My username is KiaraJ2001. I would appreciate it if you would please like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can also press the notification bell to be alerted to future content. This video is intended to tell the story of two people who feel that they have been the target of Ryan Reynolds' vindictive nature. By now, we have all learned in real time, with Justin Baldoni all learned of past incidents with TJ Miller and other people, that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have a bit of a history of bullying or taking other people's ideas and asserting authorship over them. At least that's the perception. Based on their own information and additional publicly available information, Brett and Eiko believe that they have also been targeted. This is not my story or my interpretation of events. I am retelling their story with their permission. Please keep in mind that this story is not just being told now for the first time because of the public interest in the Wayfarer lawsuit. Brett and Eiko have been publicly raising formal and informal concerns around their experience since 2021, long before It Ends With Us had any connections with Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds. I will be using a lot of Eiko and Brett's own words from their original X post, so I add this following statement from them. These statements are based solely on our personal experiences, observations, and interpretations. We share this information to explain how certain events have affected our lives and our work. We do not intend to assert or imply any definitive legal or factual conclusions, nor are we alleging that any specific individual or entity engaged in unlawful or actionable conduct. Any parallels, references, or comparisons we draw are our own subjective opinions and should not be construed as statements of fact or verifiable claims about others. So that has come from Brett and Eiko. Additionally, I am retelling someone's real life story as they have told it to me. I also make no claims about them. Any opinions are pure speculation based on the information and evidence provided to me. So, Ako Ishiwata is a Japanese-Canadian multi-instrumentalist composer who has fine-tuned her sound engineering by studying and teaching at the Art Institute of Vancouver. Eiko also attended Sheridan College for animation and was a graduate of the Bishop Strachan School. Eiko received a professional recording arts diploma in 2006 and has studied at both Queen's University and Simon Fraser University's music school. Eiko started professionally composing music for video games and film in 2002, and she has released several acoustic arrangements of Final Fantasy music. In 2017, her song Akari from The Girl and the Robot was performed on multiple occasions as part of symphony orchestras in Montreal in 2017 and 2018. Eiko has been involved with many screenings, performances, international awards and nominations. In her career, Eiko's music has been compared to two highly respected Japanese composers of the Final Fantasy series fame. Eiko is a talented game developer, animator, and classical painter. In 2019, she formed her own cross-media company called Studio Ishiwata, which focuses on Japanese retro media projects and video games. A lot of Eiko's work is credited as Ako Ishiwata Nichols or Eiko Nichols. Brett Douglas McDowell is an Indigenous Canadian storyteller, multi-instrumentalist indie game developer, and former member of the Canadian military. He's a promising filmmaker who commonly employs techniques including the use of poetic dialogue, dealing with political and philosophical issues. There is a notable degree of ambiguity with an unusual mixture of simplicity and complexity in his work and project styles, with a consistent, self-aware and reflexive tone. He engages in all aspects of production. Brett is proud of his Indigenous heritage. He is a citizen of the Red River Métis Nation and a member of the St. Francois Xavier local. Together with Eiko, he passionately advocates for Indigenous representation in the film industry and accurate depiction of cultural elements, especially regarding Red River Métis. Amongst many other things, Brett is an actor, and he believes that it is his role on the set of Deadpool 2 that underpins many of the issues both Brett and Eiko experienced. Brett was cast as a stand-in and stunt double in Deadpool 2, which was filmed in Vancouver in 2017. Also in 2017, Eiko experienced an incident at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco that significantly impacted her career. She believes that she was drugged whilst at the Snowcastle Games booth promoting Earthlock. She has never accused anyone specifically, but this was her genuine belief on how she felt at the time. Following this event, Eiko was not invited to contribute to new projects, including Snowcastle Games, where they had previously indicated in writing that she would be the music director of Earthlock 2 and 3. It is her understanding this commitment was not upheld, and she was ultimately excluded from future projects. Since Eiko's incident, several people have come forward to speak out about their own experiences of being drugged at these events. Even as recently as last year, the president of gaming development company Hooded Horse Inc. was drugged, and the company put out a post on X to confirm this and how much of an issue it is at GDC events. I will leave a link to Hooded Horse's post in the description. Eiko has also written a detailed statement regarding Mythic Quest, Snowcastle Games, and industry accountability. I will also leave a link to her X post, which contains that statement. Ryan Reynolds is obviously known for starring in the Deadpool franchise and in Free Guy. Rob McElhenney is known for starring in Mythic Quest. It is common knowledge that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney co-own the football team Wrexham AFC together. Please keep that connection in mind. So I'm going to start with Dogpool. We told this story a few months ago. It was the easiest as it's clear and it's relevant to the current lawsuit through Deadpool and Wolverine. Brett is a veteran who had a service dog to help him. Starbuck was that service dog, who often accompanied Brett and was discussed with pride and lots of photos. Starbuck had a very distinctive look, which would go on to become very recognisable later. When Dogpool came to be cast, Ryan Reynolds stated he was searching for the ugliest dog ever. I will leave a link to this video clip in the description. The Dogpool in the movie does not resemble the original comic book design. It looks very similar to Starbuck. It's Brett and Eiko's belief that the dog used for Dogpool may have been picked specifically for its resemblance to Starbuck. Looking at the information and the images, it's not difficult to see why they feel that way. So here we have Starbuck on the left, and then in the middle we have the dog that turned out to be Dogpool. On the right is the original comic design of Dogpool. So the Dogpool that ended up in the movie looked absolutely nothing like the comic book design, but looks incredibly similar to Starbuck. Ashley Brianna Eve did a video breaking all of this down. It's a video that I collaborated with her on. I will leave a link to Ashley Brianna Eve's video in the description. Please go and check it out. It is very well explained. In 2017, Eiko attended the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. Whilst there, she began to experience symptoms that suggested her drink had been spiked with something. This was information that she reported to the staff. The identity of the person who spiked Eiko's drink is still unknown, and no allegations are being made against anyone named in this video about this. Eiko confirms that Jason Vandenberg was also in attendance at this event, giving talks. Rob McElhaney is a showrunner for Mythic Quest, which is a program about game developers, who also played the character Ian. Now, the character of Ian is alleged to have been based on Jason Vandenberg. Jason Vandenberg is formerly the creative director of Ubisoft, the company that produced Mythic Quest. There are striking similarities. In the top left is the actor Humphrey Kerr as the character Paul. The top second, third, and fourth photos are Brett. Interestingly, the character Paul also has other similarities to Brett, as well as a similar look. He has a background as a veteran with a back injury and a role as a programmer. On the bottom right is Eiko on the left-hand side at the GDC event shortly before the drugging incident. Next to her on the right is the character Poppy. Episode 4 of Season 1 is called The Convention. In it is a character named Eiko. Her name is also pronounced the same way as Eiko's, it's just spelt differently, starting with an A instead of an E. So we have got some screen grabs of the character Eiko, and I've put them side by side with publicly available images of Ako Ishiwata. And there are some undeniable similarities. And now we move on to Free Guy. Here are Ako's own words. Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy reflects elements of our story. The movie's plot revolves around two game developers, one male, one female, whose intellectual property is stolen. So according to Eiko, the main characters bear a strong likeness to her and Brett during their time in Montreal. The game is about an NPC gaining self-awareness, but the main romantic subplot is about two game developers whose intellectual property was stolen, secretly having feelings for each other. Now that's basically a real life story of Brett and Eiko. Ryan Reynolds has publicly mentioned about the movie that it's a true story, which I think makes it all the more powerful, before laughing off the admission. Before Ryan Reynolds' Instagram descriptions were removed, there was a post that said, "It's based on a true story, I think. In theaters now, #FreeGuy." At this time, it has been removed. So here at the pictures, we've got the developer characters. On the top left are the main characters. And then on the top right is Brett, and on the bottom left is Eiko, and then on the bottom right is Brett. During the months we have spent following this case, we have all learned that where Ryan Reynolds is involved, there are rarely such things as coincidences. There are many connections that all lead back to Ryan Reynolds. But in case that wasn't enough for you, I do have one more. Eiko's first husband, Chris Nichols, worked on both Free Guy and Deadpool and Wolverine. His IMDb page no longer references his work on Free Guy, so we managed to get a screen grab of the movie's end credits, and I will post a link to his IMDb page in the description. Again, no one is being accused of anything, and no one is making any allegations about anyone. These are just Brett and Eiko's own views and beliefs that they believe warrant an investigation and looking into further. So where are we now? Well, as I said before, Brett and Eiko have been formally speaking out and pursuing action since long before It Ends With Us ever had the misfortune to cross paths with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Brett and Eiko are simply continuing the journey they have already started. For them, it is harder and taking longer because they don't have the backing of a Steve Sarowitz. However, since we released the story on Dogpool, the Female Composer Safety League reached out to Eiko after ignoring her for years. They have since started to ignore her again and have blocked her. Brett has also sent a letter to Judge Lyman in response to Marvel's motion to quash the subpoena that Wayfarer served upon them. So Brett is seeking to have any discovery that is relevant to him and to Eiko to have that preserved. So I will be following this and I will update with any further news. I will leave links to all letters, statements, any videos, any IMDb pages, any interviews and video clips. They will all be in the description. Thank you for watching, and please do take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and press the notification bell. Thank you.